What's up, y'all? Kyle Hamilton here. I want to give a quick shout out to Lucas, Connor, and Ryan in the Week Zero podcast.
Jackson rolling out, 3rd and 7 after the penalty, and it's a completion to Kuma. He's still running. Kuma breaks free against a tired defense as the Hokies deliver the dagger here in Tallahassee. Empty look for Richardson. Oh, that is danger! Oh my! Keidron Smith cuts inside, and he's gonna six it in the swamp. Cat scratch fever Smith.
DJ is picked off, intercepted again by Benjamin Morrison. Here goes Morrison down the sideline. Can he go? Yes, he can. Touchdown, pick six, Benjamin Morrison. Nix drops back underneath. Touchdown, Bucks. Wow. Chase Taylor.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the Week Zero podcast, where it is just me and Josh this week. Obviously, we're doing our Group of Five previews. So that's why I have ODU sucks, ODU suck VT. It's kind of painful. Get used to, or familiarize with this because you won't be seeing it again. Because hopefully by this time next week, I'll have finally moved into my new place in Wilmington. But Josh, obviously, Big Blue Nation. I was saying you should put it as like Big Blue BBF for Big Baby Face because, dude, you look about like 15.
I know, man. That's a trimmer that got a little too low there, and just gotta take it all off.
Oh man, so
yeah, it stinks.
Yeah, so I also always feel bad for you that you're the only that. Kyle Hamilton doesn't say your name, but that's because we got that while it was still just
before,
the three of us.
Yeah, I know.
Before we had you like come on full time, but at that point, I think he was still just like a guest at that point, mostly. So.
Yeah. I mean, that's fine. We appreciate Kyle. I mean, I was even in the comments all through that video.
Yeah. We gotta find who's a player that played for all of our teams. Like, there's got to be one player that somehow we got to find who played for the Ravens, the Broncos,
the
Titans,
professional. That would probably
professional, and then this for the Steelers somehow. Like we gotta see if there's someone who has that combo and see if they're on Cameo, or be like, hey, reach out on Twitter. Hey, if you put your name on Cameo, we'll pay you $200 or something. We'll pay you like $400 to appear on Cameo or something. I'm sure it wasn't that expensive getting Kyle when he was, because that was when that's from before last season. So that was before he even started his rookie year with the Ravens. Yeah. We're going to do our preview. We're just going to talk. So this is just the two of us. We're just going to kind of talk about the Group of Five a little bit and kind of realignment and stuff. I feel like once, as we get closer to the season, once it's the four of us, we can go more in depth on the Group of Five. But probably the big news here. Let me get this. I always forget how to do this. Let me share my screen. Probably before we do that, the big news before we start was the Big Ten has announced Flex Protect Plus football schedule model in 2024. So this obviously is the schedule the schedule model they're gonna now have with adding USC and UCLA. So I'm just going to read it out. Flex Protect Plus model maintains a 9-game league schedule and maintains both guaranteed annual matchups and rotating ones. Beginning in 2024, each conference pairing will take place at least twice in a 4-year span, one at each member school's home stadium. So they have, I think, 11 protected games, and I'm going to read them, and they're right here, obviously, that are always going to happen every year. Michigan, Ohio State, obviously, UCLA, USC, obviously, and then it looks like almost every other team has at least one guaranteed. Minnesota, Wisconsin, Paul Bunyan Trophy, makes sense. Indiana, Purdue, makes sense. Michigan State, Michigan, also makes sense. Iowa, Minnesota, I wonder if I can't remember if they compete for a trophy for that. Do they?
I have no idea. I don't remember.
Illinois Northwestern makes sense because obviously that's the battle of the fight of Illinois in the state of Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
Iowa Nebraska, I guess that kind of makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Maryland Rutgers, because both of those teams have not been that successful since joining, so they don't really have any rivalries with either team. So they just have to be with each other. Iowa, Wisconsin, and then Illinois, Purdue. So they've already announced also who the teams are going to be facing. So let's see. We'll also have points to play in both 2024 called two plays. Okay, so So I guess
USC and Penn State will play both seasons, and UCLA and Nebraska will also.
So that's yes. No, so that means that we'll have USC Penn State 2024, 2025, and then USC will have another matchup, maybe Ohio State or something, or some other team that they didn't play before that'll rotate through.
And we don't really get to look at these schedules.
And there's no divisions. That's the other thing. There's absolutely no divisions, which means you no longer have to see as a Maryland fan, you don't have to see Maryland get absolutely destroyed playing Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State every year. So there might be some years where they're going to be able to avoid. They're going to be able to avoid at least one of those, or maybe even two of them.
So we can go into, obviously we can't see 4, 5, 6 years into the future with this kind of model. We could go into, the math of it and all that. That's boring. But we could look at why.
USC is already
Oh, come on, Connor. We could look at, why did the Big Ten do this week? Why did the Big Ten do this week? Why did they release this information this week? Is it because on the 14th, the SEC is going to release their 2024 schedule, and that they're going to?
That's when that's coming out. Oh, that's when that's
coming out. Yes, sir.
So that's when the SEC is going to announce they're not going to have divisions either.
And they're not. We're going to find out. We're going to find out. The only thing we know for sure is that there are going to be 8 conference games in the SEC. And if you just saw on there, the Big Ten is going to go for 9 conference games. So what these conferences are doing, they're kind of, I guess.
I think it sounds like all divisions. Sounds like divisions are completely dead in all conferences.
Absolutely, yeah. They're getting rid of divisions. They're going to be just taking the 2 best teams. And the reason why they're doing this and they're trying these different models is because of the 12. Team playoff that's going to be coming in. So both of these conferences want more playoff teams. And I think it's interesting that the Big Ten jumped to, we'll do 9 games, where the SEC wanted to stay at 8.
Well, because I think it's because they want, because if you, I definitely think, because we've heard in past years that outside of what's the order of how they rank the teams, the most important things they look at is obviously, did they win their conference, right? Then it's usually strength of schedule. That's usually the next thing.
Yeah,
having a 9th game against your conference, especially if the conference is strong, right? If you're going to have a,
it can help that strength
and that 9th game is at Penn State or for Michigan, then this is USC's 2024 schedule, right? Instead of having another cupcake game that's San Diego State along with San Jose State.
But what comes before strength of schedule when considering this? I think overall record.
Winning the conference
after conference championships, I think it's going to be overall record. And the real question is, if you've got a 1-loss Tennessee, a 1-loss Alabama, are you going to put in a 2-loss Michigan,
USC,
or 2-loss USC over that 1-loss Alabama? Even though their schedules are harder.
Too. Yeah.
Like I said, even though their schedule is harder. It's something to consider, it's something to think about.
No, absolutely. I just wonder who, for I just wonder for the with 12 teams, if the committee's going to try and put a cap on the number of teams that they're going to actually put in from each conference. You know what I mean?
That's another thing we don't know. Like, are there going to be auto bids? Are there going to be all kinds of stuff?
I think we'll know more once as we get closer to next year or to 2024, right? But I feel like it's going to have to be auto bids at least for the
conference champions.
The Power 5 conference champs. But then of course people are like, then of course you could somehow have like Pitt. Was it Pitt or 2 years ago that
Cincinnati?
Won it?
Sorry.
Well, Pitt's were like, wasn't it?
I was about to say Pitt won their conference that year.
In what, 2 years ago? Pittsburgh won it won the ACC. So and they had like what, 2 or 3 losses that year.
And that's another thing to consider. You know,
obviously, I feel like I think it'll be the power. Obviously, we've already said this. This is my belief: is all the Power 5 teams, conference champs will make it, plus the best Group of 5 team. But then they'll order them how they think they are in 12. So that you could have a Pitt team that won the conference 2 years ago at 9-3 or 10-3 or whatever they finished with before the
they'll get an auto bid, but then
they'll get an auto bid, but
other teams that are ranked ahead of them.
Yeah, they'll be the 12th team because all the other teams have a better record or something, or have more impressive schedules or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And also, will we always see the best Group of 5 team if they do that, where they have a Tulane? Will that Group of 5 team, no matter what, always never be higher than like 10 or like 8 or something? They're never going to be inside that top 4.
And we kind of had we had Cincinnati a couple years ago, right? That was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
They showed up and they didn't exactly belong, but they played all their games, they won all their games, and they were able to go to the college football playoff. Are we going to have more of those situations, even though we've got these auto bids, right? So I think it's going to turn into kind of like a BCS 2.0 kind of thing. You remember? So like the national championship, like the teams that would play the national championship back in the BCS era were just they used mathematical algorithms and point differences.
Well, what's kind of funny is I remember seeing, like, for the longest time, I remember kept saying stuff about how every year I can't remember if it was on Reddit or actually on ESPN, they would actually show like what the actual rankings would be according to like if the BCS was still a thing, and for the most part the committee was pretty spot on with what the BCS was. What is it? The committee's using the BCS or kind of as a
or was the BCS a better system than we thought it was?
Yes, exactly. I think that's something that we may not want to admit. What people didn't like about the BCS is if you lost once, you pretty much were unless there was no undefeated team. If you lost once, there was probably almost no chance for you to make it to the championship or to any of the other bowl game or to any high bowl game
And then you had like weird seasons, and
LSU
the most extreme version of this 2007.
Yeah,
I'm not talking about 2019, LSU team, but like 2007. Yeah, the 2-loss LSU team
that lost twice on the road, or was I think once was at home, one was on the road, but twice in triple overtime.
Yep.
Was it Kentucky and Arkansas?
It was Kentucky.
I knew Arkansas was one of them. I couldn't remember if Kentucky was, or I knew it was a blue team, so it probably had to be Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
That was. And then LSU just rolled in the championship game against I think it was Ohio State. They won by by 20.
Yeah,
So they were the best team, but we had never seen a 2-loss team, at least in the BCS. So
yeah, and so with this 12-team playoff, and with these conferences going away from divisions and going into, our 2 best teams are going to play for the championship, whoever has the best conference record or whatever. Just and we'll definitely know more about this when the playoff comes out and we can actually see it and they have rules or anything like that. But right now, just as pure conjecture, do you think there is a scenario where we have a Final Four team playoff with 4 SEC teams?
What, like they're all the number 4 seeds
Like,
for all the top four?
no. So not top 4.
You mean just
There
4
were
teams?
there
out of
was
the 12?
one or two, and then there were another like the SEC got 4 teams to the to the
To the
12 team
12.
playoff, and they played down to just 4 SEC teams.
Oh, and they're the Final Four out of that?
Yes.
I mean, it's entirely possible.
I don't think the rest of college football would like that.
No, they wouldn't be. And I think that's until we see something like that, I don't think the committee will cap itself. But I think what they'll try and do is what they did with Ohio State and Michigan this past year. They played each other in the regular season, right? Michigan wins, and everyone was super excited because it was possible for, it could have been because it was like they could have either had it where it was Ohio State, Michigan.
Yeah, in the championship game, which might have been the best, end all be all for that rivalry. You might have gotten us this year, but you remember that championship.
It would have been the equivalent of UNC Duke in the Final Four 2 years ago.
Now,
where UNC pretty much, regardless of what Duke does, UNC has an internal kind of step above Duke because of the whole circumstances on that. But
honestly,
obviously it didn't work out. But they
honestly,
knew that
with this.
So I mean, it's entirely possible. I don't know. We'll have it is a fear.
That's just pure conjecture.
No, it is, and I think what they'll try and do, what they would try and do is they wouldn't want, especially if it's like you have Georgia, you have a 1-loss Alabama or 1-loss Tennessee or something that's like these teams are
say you've got Georgia undefeated. You've got Tennessee, like a 1-loss LSU. You've got like a 2-loss, another 10-2 team, and then you've got like another 1-loss team. Like they would all be, if they were in the SEC, they would all be ranked in the top 12.
Yeah,
I would think all of them having an argument for being in a 12-team playoff. But I don't know if.
I could see it to where they would try.
Would like to do that.
I think you could. I could see it to where the committee would try and maybe plan it that way, to where they're set up that way, if it's possible. Now, obviously, if you have like an undefeated Georgia or an undefeated one of those teams is undefeated, that's probably going to be in the top 4, and then we have a bye week. If that's how we think it's going to go, because they've already confirmed. I think that's how it's going to be. The top 4 are going to have byes, and then the next 4 seeds, 5 through 8, will have home games as like quarterfinal games. Or is that first round?
It would be 5 through 8, and then 9, 10, 11, and 12 would play at 5 through 8.
Yeah, and then the winner of those would be home games for the 5 through 8 teams.
Did they say that the 1 through 4 would be home games for them as well?
From what I understand, no. That then
I would think that would be
those games would then be like 4
games.
They would either be neutral site, or I think they would actually just be part of the Big Six, the New Year's Six.
The New Year's Six bowls.
Because theoretically, what you could actually do is you could have it to where you have 5 through 8 play 9 through 12, right? That's 4, and then that's 4 winners out of that, right? You then have the matchup, lowest seed out of those remaining teams plays 1, right? And so on and so forth. You could have it to where all New Year's Six bowl games are playoff games. 4 of the games are the quarterfinals between the 4 teams that had the buys and the 4 winners. Then the other 2 games are the semifinals and then the championship. I doubt they're going to actually do it. I don't know if they would actually do that, but you could actually have it to where all of those games are playoff games.
Yeah.
Right. And then go from there.
Yeah.
Theoretically. I think that would actually, honestly, that probably would make the most sense. But of course, it's the NCAA, which means they're not going to do it because they're stupid for the most part. So,
yeah. You've got. Well, I don't think they're stupid. I think they try to be super fair, and sometimes super fair doesn't mean good. You know, but honestly, when it comes down to these conferences changing and what it means, because the SEC is just going to release 2024, and they said, well, that's a temporary kind of thing. We're going to look at it. We're going to see how it feels, and then we're going to go on from there. The Big Ten coming out and saying, you know what, we're going to do 9 conference games a season. What you're really seeing is 2 different conferences trying to get more teams in the 12-team playoff with different kind of equations here. So the Big Ten is going to try to bank on strength of schedule. Yeah. This team lost maybe 1 or 2 games, but they had an incredible season. Like, look at, all these good quality wins. You're not going to see a Furman on this one. You know what I mean? And then
you're not. And you're gonna like this schedule for USC 2024. They are still maintaining. They have 1 game that's a cakewalk, essentially.
San Jose State.
And
make no mistake.
Other than whatever bad team out of this Northwestern, we guess, actually is bad at that point. Like, this is a really good, amazing schedule for them. Right?
Yeah. Versus
LSU to start the season.
That could be a monster of a game.
They're going to have that guaranteed game against Notre Dame, which obviously going to help Notre Dame as well. But you're going to have a Penn State. They're probably going to play a Penn State. They're going to play one of Penn State, Michigan, or Ohio State every year. I think USC.
Okay.
Regardless, they're going to always Big Ten would be stupid not to have those.
How
games
I read
every
it.
year.
How I read it was that it was going to have each of those teams on kind of a rotation. So at 24 and 25, they're going to play Penn State both times, and then I think Ohio State's going to come in. And so, really, you're going to have USC playing Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan every single year, but they won't play them all in that year.
Yeah, because here's 2020.
So bringing up that that last schedule you had, this one even works, right? 25 even works. So you got Ole Miss
because they get Penn State home, and then they're at Ohio State, and then it could be at Ohio State the next year.
Yeah,
right.
But looking at the schedule, Ryan,
there's no Michigan on this like there's. Sorry, I keep interrupting you. I'm really sorry.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine, Connor. So looking at this schedule, now don't be fooled. Ole Miss is still a good team. They may not be LSU, but they're still a good team. But say USC runs through this, all right, but they don't lose to a conference opponent. They lose at Notre Dame, or they lose to Ole Miss, right? But they run through their conference. Sans conference championship, they can still say like, oh, I still deserve, like, they've got a really good argument for being in a college football playoff. Whereas, if they ran through all of these other teams, but let's say they lost to Georgia Southern or they lost to Indiana. No. I'm just saying.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. But look, we know you beat Notre Dame. We know you beat, at Ohio State. It's really incredible, but you lost to Indiana. What happened there? Like, there weren't injuries. There was nothing crazy that happened. You lost to Indiana. They beat the brakes off of you. Like, what? That's a much less kind of, resume, because, like, oh, man, they beat Ohio State. They beat Notre Dame. They beat Ole Miss. They beat Penn State, Nebraska. All these good, you lost to Indiana. Like, bad. It was like 52-14. What happened? Like I'm
You're
telling.
you're making
No, no,
Indiana
no, no, no.
you're giving Indiana fans a lot of hope right now. If they're
Here's the
gonna hear
thing.
this.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. All right, something absurd has to happen that day for that to happen.
Yeah,
But I'm just saying, crazy
that's
things
college
have happened in
football, too.
college football.
Yeah.
Upsets happen in college football, and you got to look at, because of the strength of schedule, is that one loss as bad versus Indiana,
Yeah.
or maybe would that loss look better if it happened against Ole Miss?
Mhm.
And that's just kind of what the Big Ten's
What's up?
banking on, is the strength of schedule meaning more than the wins and losses column. Because what you do when you add another like in conference opponent, if your conference is really good, is you're making you're raising your potential losses up
Mhm.
a lot more. It was explained really well. I heard it on that SEC podcast, uh, but what the SEC is doing with this 8-game roster is they're kind of looking to pad their schedule a little bit. I know everyone accuses them of doing it, but you guys win, like 8 of the last 10 national championships, and then you talk. But they're padding their schedule to have more wins by having less conference games. And it's still 8 conference games. It's not like only playing, like MAC teams, or only playing like
They're playing
Sun Belt teams.
Notre Dame playing only 5 ACC teams or something, but they're still having
Yeah.
teams against.
Yeah, but still having Ohio State, still having Michigan, still having USC.
Yeah, so it's still but I get what you mean, because it's giving them a guaranteed win, where if they lose another way, if they lose another thing, they can still say,
we
still
just
have
had a
11
really tough
wins.
schedule. We got all these good
We
wins.
lost a really tough game to Georgia, Tennessee, Bama, whatever team.
Which is a much more likely scenario, but than USC losing to Indiana. I'm sorry, USC fans. I didn't actually mean it. But
the only person in here is DK. We appreciate you being here, man. I'm sorry we didn't.
Is DK here? Is he commenting?
He said hello.
Oh, hey, what's up, DK?
Hopefully he's still here. I don't know if he is.
So we need to pay attention to comments.
We're nearly 30 minutes in.
All right. Let's get into it. I really love this stuff.
I don't know how we're going to talk about this, because obviously there's a bunch of other conferences we need to talk
about.
about.
We could talk about which is the strongest of the group of 5, conference-wise, and then you could also look at who are these conferences going to lose, because a lot of these group of 5 teams are going to go to the Big 12. They're going to go to the.
Would it be crazy to say that the Sun Belt is the strongest of them right now?
At
least last year they were.
James Madison, Coastal,
Old James Madison.
Go to American. You see all
Florida,
those
they're
teams?
dragged down by Florida. I mean, they were last year. I feel like it was Florida Atlantic was terrible. Tulane was fantastic.
What's Conference USA? I think Conference USA might actually be it.
American football.
Yeah, CUSA.
Overall.
We're seeing USC football schedule on here.
Conference.
I think it's crazy that Ole Miss is going all the way out to LA.
See, what the. Okay, here we go.
Okay, it's not coming up on mine. Hold on.
So here's the American. So, American, there was Tulane. Fantastic season.
Hey, Connor, can you see it on your screen share? Because I don't. All I see is the USC football schedule again.
Oh, sorry. Let me share this tab instead. So this was last year's American Conference.
There you go. Yeah, 7-1. Okay.
Tulane 12-2, 9-5, 9-4.
7-6, 8-5, 8-5.
SMU was barely there. Navy sucked. Obviously, look at that. They were 4.
Houston was all right.
They were 0-4 outside of the conference. Houston was all right. Middle Tennessee, East Carolina was okay. Memphis, and then Tulsa, Temple,
made a
and
bowl.
South Florida.
Tulsa didn't. Yeah, the
South
Florida was
rear.
awful.
Okay, so let's do Sun Belt.
And this is the American, correct?
Yes, that was the American.
Okay.
So Sunbelt.
Sunbelt has one of our favorite teams on it. At least our favorite team last year.
Yeah. Okay. So, Coastal Carolina 9-4, James Madison 8-3. Should have probably have won that division, but obviously that whole thing with them moving up. Marshall 9-4.
9-4.
App State
6-6.
App State, I was really hoping for, obviously, with how crazy
App State had a good.
Those first three games were nuts, but I think those first 3 games of the season took all of their like juice out of them, and they were just kind of meh the rest of the season. Georgia Southern, they're bad, but they're meh. But we've seen them beat good teams at times. And Old Dominion, State, of course. Georgia State, I'm not sure. Old Dominion, of course, being Virginia Tech, but then flying in their face.
Nothing much.
Yeah, Troy. I forgot how good Troy was.
Troy was good last year. Yeah, wow. South Alabama was good too.
Yeah, South Alabama. Louisiana fell off, unfortunately. Billy Napier took all of the good mojo with him. Southern Miss, obviously our favorite team last year.
Southern Miss.
Fighting Cam. What's his last name? I keep wanting to say Cam Redding, but that's not him.
No. Who are you
Cam Harrell.
Yeah.
Is that Cam Harrell?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Frank Gore Jr. is there right now.
That's true. ULM, Louisiana Monroe. That was a fall off because they were good. 2 years ago?
Yeah, they were a little bit longer than that, but yeah.
Texas State and
Arkansas State.
I mean, that's
fun fact actually. Arkansas State was a family member of mine was in-laws with the athletic director of Arkansas State.
Oh, okay.
For a while.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, other than that.
I mean, it looks like, American, they had Tulane. They were the huge feel-good story this year and obviously beat USC in a fantastic bowl game. UCF kind of had a big rebound. They were down.
Well, didn't Marshall beat Notre Dame?
Yeah, Marshall beat Notre Dame, so
Marshall
beat
have Notre Dame. App State took down Texas A&M.
James Madison, I know they were cooking for a while there. They beat. I don't know if they beat anyone high profile, but they beat Virginia and I think Georgia Tech. So very bad ACC teams, but still ACC teams.
And unfortunately,
and also now the American is losing UCF, Cincy, and Houston. They're losing those 3 teams, so they're not going to be as good.
To the Big 12, aren't they?
Yeah, to the Big 12. So who are they bringing in? Who's coming into the American this year? I forget.
I have no idea. Actually, I've been so caught up in like Power 5 conference changes, and
I think they're bringing
nothing's going to look the same.
No.
I'm so excited.
So who are they bringing in? Right. Okay. So they brought in. Was UAB there before?
Alabama, Birmingham? No.
Yeah. I don't think they were. Sorry, I need to go back. I need to find this again. American. I need to bring up the 2022 again. I needed another tab. I apologize. So
you're good.
Teams that they've added. It looks like they have added UAB, Charlotte.
Ooh.
Do they already have FAU there?
Florida Atlantic.
Florida Atlantic has moved up. No, Florida Atlantic.
Okay.
Rice.
Oh, you don't lose the food.
And UTSA.
Yeah. Roadrunners.
Yeah. That's, I think, who they've added, which that is, so they have 1, 2. So they've had 4. Oh, and North Texas.
Oh, really? Okay.
So, yeah, it looks like, UAB, Charlotte, FAU, North Texas, Rice, Oh, was SMU? No, SMU was already there.
SMU was already there.
Temple,
I know all of these like group of 5
Tulane,
fans are
yeah,
screaming at us right now.
UTSA, Tulane, Tulsa. Yeah, so they added 5 new. Yeah, is that 5 new? 1,
Mhm.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Because I know they had a shakeup a couple
9,
years ago.
12, 13.
Some G5
14.
teams left Sun
So
Belt
they
and went other
so they have
places.
4. So they went up 14 to 14 teams.
Oh, did they?
Oh wait, no, yeah. So yeah, UAB, Charlotte, FAU, North Texas, Rice, UTSA,
All right.
and they still have Tulane.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at their schedule, this is the schedule for this year for the
Bring it up.
American.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, probably the biggest high profile game that any team's going to play. Well, honestly, against a good team.
Mm-hmm.
ECU plays
Michigan.
Looks like it's at Michigan. Rice plays at Texas. Oh, I think Cal's going to North Texas. Ooh,
is it going to North Texas?
I think
that's
if it's,
what that means.
I think it's White. Yeah, I think that's
White's
at
home.
White's home.
So Chattanooga's going to Florida.
Ooh, give me Tulane. If Tulane
with Ole Miss at home. Ole Miss at home.
Yes,
that's going to be a little nuts.
I like it.
Ooh, I like that a lot.
And then of course Army sprinkled in here a little bit.
Goes to TCU. I like this.
FAU versus Clemson.
Yeah, FAU.
USF
is going to get smacked.
USF gets Alabama at home. Oh right, it does.
No way.
They get Alabama at home. USF gets Alabama at home. Wow.
Oh boy.
Are we back? Are we back in the Bulls on that? Are we going to back the Bulls on that? 1-11. 1-11 USF Bulls.
Oh no. No.
Oh man. Okay. So obviously a lot of moving parts with the American obviously losing those teams. What team? Obviously, just looking at the schedule right now. Just quick glance. What is your thought process? Who do you like? What team stands out the most to you? I know it's a lot to kind of go.
I know. It's quite a bit here.
Do we still think FAU? Do you think it's going to be a competition between FAU and USF for the worst team in the conference?
FAU and USF, probably. Rice might be fighting for it.
Was Rice that bad last year?
Dude, you don't lose to food.
Lose to food.
Yeah, you don't lose to food. Let's see. UAB. Oh God, UAB might be there. I don't know. We'll see. They play Navy, at UTSA, at Tulsa, at Georgia, at hold on, is that a logo for ants? That second 9-9. Is it? I can't read it.
Where?
Sorry, UAB. That first column. Column. Second game.
Is that Texas?
Oh no, I was looking at their logo.
Is that NCAT? NCAT?
I have no idea.
I don't know. That's Georgia
bad.
Southern. That's Georgia Southern right
there.
Georgia
Southern. That's what I thought it was. It just.
Oh, you're talking about that one. Yeah, that's Georgia Southern.
Yeah, I need a better monitor.
And then they're at Georgia. Ugh.
Yeah, they're at Georgia. Yeah, it's not a nice place to be. Oh, Ishii's on. Hi, Ishii.
Hi, Ishii. I don't know why I started.
I don't know why you did that either.
When I did my own streams. When I did my own streams on my channel for like Ravens games, she would like pop in. She's like put in like parentheses, popping in or something. And I'm just like,
oh cool.
Talking to the people I haven't just pop up, and I'm just like, hi Ishii. So I just started doing that, and then of course I do the weird look where I'm just like this.
Oh, I gotcha. Yep. Hi Ishii. So we could talk about. Hold on. Let's. So this is the American, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. What? Let me see. Where Western Kentucky is. Sunbelt. Conference USA? Conference USA. Okay.
Our time Conference USA.
Yeah, which is. Oh. Did Charlotte go to Conference USA? I am.
No, Charlotte. No, Charlotte is in the American now. That's them in the
Oh,
second
okay.
round.
Oh, that's not.
It's them in the
Yeah, I
second round.
figured. I just.
So that's UAB, Charlotte, FAU, UNT, Rice,
Okay.
UTSA. Actually, no. So that's 6 new teams. I can't count. My God.
Oh,
I'm
if
so
only
sorry.
we could count.
That's why we're football fans and not mathematicians. We can't count.
That's why we're football fans. We're not baseball fans.
Dude,
I'm kidding.
No, straight up, some of those advanced statistics, I do not understand. I cannot do.
Goodness. So who do we think is going to be? I mean, we've looked at this one. We've looked at the American. Let's look at some other conferences and see if they have similar schedule layouts. And we're just gonna pick our favorite.
I'm trying to see the Sun Belt if they have a collective one. Let me see if I can pull that up. Let me see. Sun Belt.
I'll tell you this right now. I like Charlotte, and I like. I apologize. Tulane. I like Charlotte, and I like Tulane. Out of this, not saying that there's no love for SMU, but.
You think Charlotte? Interesting.
Oh, I like Charlotte. Yeah. I actually like Charlotte at Florida.
Okay.
That might be one of those
that.
Florida's down bad games. We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out if at Florida they updated betting odds for all the SEC teams for over unders. Florida is still at 5.5 games. Florida's down bad, y'all. Hold on. Memphis has a neutral site game against Mizzou.
I take Memphis.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Sorry, this is really funny.
That's nuts.
Do you remember? I know I'm going way off topic. So, do you remember seeing the Blue Jays pitcher Anthony Bass? He came out. He said something that was against LGBTQ. Recently.
Yeah, he said he didn't want to support that kind of stuff for religious reasons, which I understand.
No, I can understand that. Or I'm not sure if he actually said it was for. I think he did say exactly for religious reasons. He said it. He said anyway. But then recently, I saw a video of him when he came into the game. The tower, whatever the tower is in Toronto, lit up in pride colors when he was announced coming in. And then the Blue Jays have announced he's going to throw out the ceremonial first pitch on Friday to begin their Pride weekend celebration.
Do you think that's a punishment for what he said?
I mean, it's hilariously ironic, honestly, but I'm not sure.
It is, but
it's probably a punish. But what did he say?
Yeah, I'd hope not. But we've seen weirder things in sports.
Yeah.
But I like this, these kind of schedules. Yeah, they've got SEC teams sprinkled in and a big.
Sorry, I didn't go way off on that. I'm sorry.
Oh no, we're fine. We also got some MAC teams in here. I see that.
I'm trying to. They know Sun Belt's not being as cool as the American, and doesn't have the whole display of the whole schedule.
Oh man, come on, Sun Belt.
I know. They had us right there. They have our second favorite team, our favorite team in Southern Miss. Mm-hmm. Is Cam still going to be there this year, or is he graduated?
I have no idea. That's a sippy question.
That's good. Yeah, that is a sippy question.
Yeah, That's definitely a Mississippi question, which I think Southern Miss went to the regionals or super regionals in baseball.
Look at this. This is so ridiculously stupid. Look at how
Share
they did it. They've done all the teams lay down
no!
like this, and then what they have is here's the entire actual schedule of all the games like per week of all the teams that are playing. So then it's like going through showing all the teams.
And this is Sunbelt.
This is the Sunbelt. So then here's the Tuesday night game. Here's a Thursday night game.
Sunbelt, come on!
I know.
You guys can do better. This is why everyone looks down on you.
They bungled it. Bungled it. Bungled it. Soiled it.
Man.
So I mean,
it's ridiculous. I guess we could go.
We can quickly go through each team.
Yeah,
I guess,
let's go through each team. Unfortunately, sorry guys, it's going to take a minute.
Pain. And my food is getting colder and colder by the minute. I have some.
What did you?
I have some
Panda Express.
Panda
Express in Wilmington.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. App State. Oh, they get at North Carolina. So they get to
at North Carolina, East Carolina, at Wyoming, ULM,
Coastal Carolina,
and Coastal Carolina.
There you go.
Playing all the Carolina teams.
All the
except
Carolinas.
For
now they
South
just
Carolina.
they need
or
South
Clemson.
Carolina. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, no, Clemson doesn't have Carolina in the name, bro.
Well, Clemson is a Carolina team, though.
Well, that's true. Anyways.
Actually,
that would make more sense, yeah. Oh, anyway, Coastal Carolina at UCLA, and they don't play any other team with Carolina in the name. Damn it.
I didn't know. Okay, Coastal Carolina, UCLA, Jacksonville, Duquesne, Georgia State, at Georgia Southern, at App State, at Arkansas State, Marshall, at Old Dominion, Texas State, at Army, and James Madison at home.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't have to read them all out, but I mean,
I know.
The Citadel.
I'm doing it for the audio people.
Ooh, at Wisconsin for Georgia Southern.
All State,
and then at the best team in the state of Indiana.
Watch out, everybody! We got Maction going on here,
dude. Maction's fun. We haven't even touched the Mac. We need to talk about them next.
Oh, it's gonna be fun.
Do you want to just go to the Mac now?
Let's give it its due. Georgia State.
I just don't know who's going to come out of Georgia out of this.
At LSU, really annoying that there's not. James Madison at Virginia, and UConn. Marshall.
They get VT at home.
And BT. Okay.
They get to embarrass us before we. So we get.
I don't know, man. I think Virginia Tech might be a little bit better this year. We'll figure it out.
Until I see it, I'm
I know. It's just like any of y'all saying, "Oh, Kentucky's got a chance against Georgia." Yeah, until I see it, man. I don't believe it.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, you know what? Yeah, because then we'll just have the Sunbelt West Division and who's in there. Oh, that's
the East Division. This is the
West. Is Southern Miss going to be in the West Division of this, or did we already go over them? It would have been up there.
No, yeah. So they're in this Arkansas State.
It
starts the season at Oklahoma.
Memphis.
Good luck, boys. Oof. Good luck, boys.
Oof.
Louisiana.
Louisiana gets Northwestern State.
And UAB in Buffalo. Okay. I mean, UAB. Oh, Minnesota. Sorry, I completely overlooked Minnesota.
Oof. ULM at Texas A&M.
They'll pull an App State. It'll be hilarious.
No, they're not. No, they're not. No, sorry. Why? Petrino's worth that game.
Huh?
Bobby Petrino.
Oh.
We'll be able to get that.
I straight up thought you said Katrina, and I'm like.
Katrina? Yes, the hurricane.
I was like, the hurricane. The hurricane is going to...
Yeah, we'll mop out Louisiana Monroe.
I thought you were making a joke like the game's going to be worse to ULM than Katrina was to the state of Louisiana.
No, I'd never say that. Don't build on, property that's below sea level. I'd never say that. South Alabama, at Oklahoma State. Yeah, they got Marshall as well. Oh, there we go. Southern Miss. Tulane.
Alcorns. Oh, Florida State. Oh God. Oof.
At Florida State. Let's
and
go.
then Tulane.
Let's
and
go.
then they get Tulane at home.
Yeah.
Oof.
Old Dominion, at App State, ULM, at Mississippi State. Southern Miss has got a heck of a schedule. Oh, God. And Troy at the end of all that. Okay.
Texas State at
Texas
Baylor.
State,
Jackson
at
State.
Baylor, Nevada.
It's kind of funny thinking. It's kind of thinking about how there are teams that are like this team's version of like Alabama versus Mercer, which is Jackson State. Because now that that's where Dion was, right? He was at Jackson State. Now that he's no longer there, now that Dion's no longer there, Jackson State's going to go back to being terrible. Because Dion was actually, their team was really good last year. Weren't they like 12 and like they? Weren't they like 11
yeah, they did really well. I mean, it got them the Colorado job.
Yeah.
But I mean, we could talk about how Colorado's going to go 6-6 this year, but the Dion fans don't want to hear that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm holding out hope that he actually kind of does good.
Me too.
Because it'll piss off Lucas more than anything, and it's going to be hilarious.
6-6 is not a bad season for Colorado, especially under a new head coach. It's not.
No.
You know, give him time.
I liked seeing Colorado being good back in 2016 when they played Washington in the championship game.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. Okay, let's go get some action.
Yeah. Who's playing on a Wednesday night? It must be the Mac.
And some Tuesdays as well.
It's a Tuesday night game for some action during the week.
Yes, the Mac has done it right. They have a photo.
Now show us.
Sunbelt. What is wrong
Bowling
with you?
Green, Buffalo, Kent State, Miami of Ohio.
That's
better
Miami.
Akron
We're
going to find out. Huh?
You forgot Akron. You didn't say
yes. Yes.
Akron. Who doesn't love some
midweek
action? Who doesn't love some Buffalo versus like Miami of Ohio Wednesday night?
Dude, Miami
action.
Miami kicks off the season at Miami.
Oh,
we're gonna find out who the real Miami is.
Oh, please, Miami.
Poor Ball State.
The fighting. They get to beat the worst team in Kentucky. The best team in Indiana will beat the worst team in Kentucky.
What?
Did you laugh? Did you laugh a little bit?
No, I was like, no. What is he saying?
Yeah, Kentucky's gonna lose.
No, sir.
Yes, they will.
Do you know what now they might not hit their point spread. Do you know what the point spread is?
No.
27.5 points.
Two Ball State, right?
No, sir. No, sir.
Ball State's only going to lose by 17.
I would guarantee that. I would almost guarantee. If you want some free money, take Ball State. Take the points on that Kentucky game because Kentucky takes their foot off the gas when they're 3 scores ahead. They always do. Always have.
When was the last time you ever saw Kentucky ever beat the spread when they had like a spread more than like 2 touchdowns?
It's been 2 years, but they did have a couple games. I think it was against Toledo actually. They lit them up like 60 to nothing. Like it was.
Gotcha.
It was bad, but I mean, who would bet on that game anyways? Unless you really wanted the money.
Yeah,
but here we go, man. We got some action here.
Let's see.
Out of all of these teams, I think Miami might be one of the stronger ones.
Based on the dates, it doesn't look like there's going to be anything crazy. Because like these are all full weeks. These are all full weeks separate. Like right. It's until we get to the end of the season.
18, 23, 30. Yeah, they're all.
So not until here, the end of the season, will we see some true action.
Absolutely, and that's what we love about the MAC.
Because look at that. The 28th, and then somewhere between the 31st and the 1st, Let's go.
Yeah, let's
Okay.
go.
I mean, every year it seems like a random team here just somehow has a really good season, just kind of puts it together for 1 year, and then just crashes back to earth. The next, it's been NIU, then it was Western Michigan for a while,
Eastern Michigan,
Eastern
Central.
Michigan, Central. What was Central Michigan? I can't remember the last time.
Yeah, Central Michigan had some good games, but I believe they had a decent season. I don't think Bowling Green had. Kent State gave Georgia a game last year.
Oh, right, true.
Yeah, we remember that. Man, who just doesn't love some good action? It's late in the year, November. We already know our big matchups. We already know who we're going to be playing and all that stuff. And here comes the MAC saying, "Hey, it's Tuesday night. What about a little Toledo at Bowling Green? How about some, you know,
we're coming towards the end. We're coming towards the end of the season. We know how it's important it is. So here's some random bullshit on Tuesday and Wednesday nights.
Not random BS. I will not accept that. Absolutely not. No, because
fantastic BS
for an addict like me, competitive college football, even in the smaller doses, right? Does it mean as much Kent State at Ball State? No, it does not. Do you know what it is? It is entertaining and it is good to watch.
I just know that if I'm gonna keep on my schedule that I'll be starting next week, I will have Mondays and Tuesdays off. So I need something to keep me occupied on Tuesday nights to go to sleep. Now I'm not drunk, so I'm not gonna fall asleep passed out in front of the TV watching this, but maybe something I can have in the background, keep some dull noise as I do something else, but it'll be nice to check in on every once in a while. Plus, my cousin went to Ohio University, so I kind of
there you go. A bit. Yeah, what are they? Bobcats?
Are they Bobcats? I think they are.
It looks like it. Anyways, I'm pretty excited. Something that we can ask ourselves because we're winding down to the end of this. Do we see any group of 5 teams make it to this last 4-team playoff? Are there any teams that can go undefeated throughout their season?
In any of these conferences?
Any of these conferences. I don't see any from the MAC. Don't say any from the MAC.
The MAC. The MAC. We haven't. I think literally the last the championship game last year was between a 8-4 and a 7-5 team.
Yeah,
the MAC just eats itself alive. They're what the Pac-12 wishes it could be, eating itself alive. Is what the MAC does.
I love that. Yeah. It also doesn't help that when they choose to go out of conference, they choose Syracuse, Illinois, Nebraska, Minnesota, Notre Dame, Georgia, Miami, Arkansas, Wisconsin. I mean, there's a liberty there. But
I'm seeing. Yeah, obviously we're seeing a lot of. Obviously because where they're located, there's a lot of Big Ten teams.
A lot of Big Ten. Some
SEC and
some SEC
ACCs.
Teams. Yeah,
and
I crap about Kentucky playing MAC teams, but
I was about to say, and the one Notre Dame thrown in there. Notre Dame playing Central Michigan at home.
Central Michigan, the Chippewas.
So, I mean, I don't know. It seems like every year there's always a random team that it's really unpredictable from all these conferences. One team, it probably will be a team from the American that will just be that'll be
let's go look at the American again and pull that up and just kind of pick one. Okay.
I mean, based on how they've been the past few years, UTSA jumps right off the page.
UTSA jumps off. Tulane jumps off the page. Charlotte jumps off the page for me.
Really, Charlotte?
Charlotte just looks like they have an easy schedule. Samford, I'm sorry, is that?
That's Maryland.
Maryland, yeah. Georgia State, Florida, SMU. Never mind, this is brutal. Um,
No,
Navy.
that's pretty. I was about to say that's pretty brutal. Maryland, I think is
honestly,
gonna be better.
honestly though, Maryland will probably be better, but you can't tell me Charlotte can't beat Samford. You can't tell me that
They'll put up a fight
Charlotte
against
can't
Florida,
beat
and it'll be
can't beat
hilarious.
Florida. Like you
It'll be
can't tell me
hilarious.
Charlotte can't beat Florida. It's hard for me to say this being an SEC fan and seeing how far Florida has fallen. It would
But
be
it's gonna
hilarious to see Charlotte
make your-
beat Florida at home.
It's just going to make your matchups against them much more enjoyable, knowing how bad Florida is. Because then you can start your own streak of beating them.
31. Nobody beats us 32 years in a row.
Nobody beats us 32 years in a row.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Oh, that was so bad.
Yeah, it was. So,
Okay, can I come clean? And I know we're like an hour and 2 minutes into this, and we got two people on here, and it's probably you.
it's
I'm joking. It's other people. When Kentucky finally beat Florida at Florida,
when
it
was
kind
that?
of felt weird, right? It felt weird. It didn't feel like
Was that like 2018?
yes. So it was the last play of the game wasn't like a definite last play kind of thing. Um, it was a fumble return for a touchdown, but like people thought the play was dead, and it wasn't dead. It wasn't blown dead until the touchdown was scored.
Oh, for
With
Kentucky.
no time left. Yes.
Oh,
So it was
yeah,
like
yeah.
27 to 16. 27 to 16, something like that. It did like they beat them and they ended the streak, and they did it at Florida, and it didn't feel like that. They like
Didn't
it
feel like
didn't
this big
really
momentous
feel like
thing.
this big momentous thing. What felt like this big momentous thing was 2 years ago when they beat them in Lexington.
Okay.
And if anyone follows Kentucky football for a long time, there was an article, and it was about Coach Stoops having mistakes because we should have beaten Florida 3 years before we did.
Well,
But there would be
it's
these
just like
little
it's just like
mistakes that there
Navy.
would be.
Yeah, it's just like Navy Notre Dame. Like there were plenty of times like Navy should have really have gotten it. And they couldn't
Like
just
it was
because it
yeah, grasping defeat from the jaws of victory.
Exactly.
But there was an article written, and it was on KSR, and it was titled one leg over the post, or one leg over the fence."
Mm-hmm.
And it was a picture of a fan who wanted to storm the field and was unable to, so they just had one leg over the rail. I think that's what it really was one leg over the rail. Just talking about Coach Stoops' teams and how they were unable to really jump that hurdle. Then when they finally did, it didn't quite feel real. But then when they did it back in Kroger Field in Lexington, that was crazy. So I think Charlotte can beat Florida. I don't think that's crazy. But and Memphis has a fighting chance against Mizzou, but they're going to have to fight to find a way to score. Tulane has Ole Miss at home. That's going to be a crazy one. But as far as this American Conference, I like it. I think it has the best chance to spit out a playoff contender. Do I think it's going to happen this year? Probably not. I think it would actually be kind of wild to have the four original, like the first four playoff teams go back to the playoff.
Oh, you mean what was that? Ohio State? You mean from the
Ohio
first four?
State, yeah, it was Ohio
Alabama.
State, Alabama, Florida State, and it was number 4 in that. Oh Lord, we're bad. We're not good college football fans. What's I'm having
Who did Ohio State beat? Because they beat Alabama in the semifinal.
Yeah, I think they beat. The reason why we can remember Florida State because
Oregon.
Because
I remember because of the play where the ref fell down. It was the Jameis Winston play.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well.
So, we talked for an hour and 6 minutes
did.
between the two of us. making up
man.
for the fact that Lucas and Ryan hog it the most of the time.
Well, this is
except
Lucas
for me when
Ryan
I
hogging
shadow.
most of the time. That was you.
What?
You do it. You talk a lot, man.
Was I really hogging it that much?
No, not today. No, we had a good balance today.
Well, as
this
a host,
this
as
is
a
the
host, I
sausage
feel like
and
you're
how
supposed
it's
to try
made,
to. You know what
folks.
I mean?
We're still on.
Yeah. Well, I gotta eat.
All right, Connor's food's getting cold.
I don't know when we'll be talking about next week. It'll be interesting.
Hopefully next week we've got a little bit more energy. And speaking of energy, we're gonna wrap this up with a little bit of a plug. We're actually partnering with Dubby Energy, and I know we've had ads on about them before, just reading stuff like that. But if you're interested in trying a new type of energy drink, now it's powder that you mix with water at home. It's not jittery. It doesn't make you jittery. It's not a ridiculous amount of caffeine or anything. I apologize, but it is supposed to be one of the better ways to have energy and not be jittery, not have crazy crashes or anything like that. I'm going to be learning more about it, and we're going to try to develop a better partnership with them. But right now, we do have a code with Dubby Energy. So you go to dubby.gg, and that's their website. You can actually order directly from them. They ship out. Shipping's not very expensive from them. And one of their tins got about 30 servings.
What is it?
It's
isn't it week 0?
Yes.
All caps?
Okay, yeah. Our code for them is week 0, all caps. It doesn't have to be all caps. It still goes through as week 0. Takes 10% off your order. Their little tin has got 30 servings in it. It's $40. Now, I know that sounds a little expensive. But if you've been looking around at other brands that do the same thing that Dubby does, that's what you're paying for them. That's what you're getting. Yeah, we got a code with them. It's 10% off your order. So if you go in, you get yourself a 30 serving tin. It's $39.99, and then our code takes almost $4 off of that. Like I said, that is dubby.gg, code week 0, and you get 10% off your entire order, not just like a single tin or anything like that. So go show them.
You like and subscribe.
And yeah, absolutely show up too. No, I got you. Show us some love too. If you like what you hear, go on down. They got a button for that. If you find yourself coming back, hit that subscribe button.
Subscribe. We're gonna be posting a bunch of player. We're gonna be posting a bunch of player highlights from this past season. I think we have our Caleb Williams coming out pretty soon. That should be coming out, I think, sometime within the next day or so. I know that the edit's almost done on that.
We're going to be working to give you guys a lot more like team-specific content as well. More live shows you can tune into, and hit like, hit subscribe, hit that notification bell. Make sure you're getting all our notifications. And Connor, go on, take us out.
Yeah. So for Josh, for myself, and for the missing Ryan and Lucas who have abandoned us and are leaving us to fend for ourselves while they enjoy the lap of luxury that is Barstool. This has been the Week 0 podcast. Make sure you like and subscribe. We will see you guys again next week with whatever new topic